So I got the idea to see if I can turn this swing impact fat into a wake bait. So I put that little spring clip in the nose, put this hook through it, and then added this weight, same that we've been using, onto it, and take a look at this out in the water and see if you think it's a good wake bait or not. Very nice, slow wake bait. Look at that. Yeah, that's gonna catch fish. Just created a whole new topwater lure here. And then when you kill it, you can be bringing it in like this, making that wake. And then when you kill it, it just has that real slow tail wagging fall. Boy, that looks good. Hey everyone, welcome back to Fish Den 365. I'm Den Haring, and today we're going to share with you something that I've been experimenting with for quite a while now. I've made a topwater wake bait out of some soft plastic, common soft plastic minnow type baits, and I think it's going to be very effective. I've been experimenting with it for a while now. I've caught some fish on them. I haven't had an opportunity to fish them as much as I want, and I hope to be making a video. We're coming into the time of the year now, August, September, October, where this bait will come into play. And so even though I've fished it in May, I caught a striper on it at Lake Wallenpaupack at night, caught some bass, some pickerel. So I already know the bait will catch fish, but the real good time for this bait is now and coming up. So this is why I've decided to share it with you now. After a lot of experimentation and a lot of trial and error, I found out what works best and some of what doesn't work. And we're going to share both of that with you right now. So what I started with was this bait right here. This is the Keitech Swing Impact Fat, 3.8 inch swing impact fat to be exact. And you know, it has that really exaggerated tail wag, and I thought this might make an interesting topwater bait if I can keep it on the surface. So the way I went about doing that was I got one of these spring clips that you can get, I think VMC sells them, and I just screwed it into the nose of the bait, and you put it all the way in so that it's completely buried into the bait. And then you can choose a hook of your liking. I chose a Gamakatsu Finesse wide gap hook, and then you hook it through the plastic of the bait and through the hole on this spring clip. So now it stays in the bait much better. It's much less likely to tear out of the bait. That's the purpose for using the spring clip. If you're using a Z-Man type of plastic, you probably don't need to do that because it just holds the hook that much better. But that's the rig. And then I've added one other thing, and this is probably very important, just as important as the way we're hooking it. I use a little bit of weight, and I've been playing with these VMC half moon wacky weights. They have a little screw on one side and like a mushroom head. And in the video you could see where I was inserting that bait. I was actually inserting it into the belly of the soft plastic, and you can experiment with placement. For example, if you put it near the head and you kill the bait, then it'll have a bit of a head down posture as it slowly sinks down. If you put it in the middle, it's more of a horizontal posture as it sinks down. And if you put it on the back, it actually can go a little bit backwards. It also changes the speed of the retrieve for getting a wake. So if you have the bait on the front, you need a little bit of a faster retrieve. So if you're looking for a faster wake, you put it on the front. A medium would be in the middle, and if you're looking for the slowest wake possible, then you put it near the back of the belly. You don't put it near the tail, but I consider each bait having 3 sections of belly, right? Near the nose, in the middle, and near the back, so that I can put that weight in and get different actions out of the bait. And it's really interesting. It's something that you can experiment with, but you don't need to. If you put it in the front or near the middle, you're going to have very good action either way. But you can experiment with the speed of the bait this way. So in the beginning of this video, you saw the action of this. It's a really cool action. It makes a good wake on the surface. But one of the things that makes the Keitech bait very unique compared to the others is that when you kill this bait, and it starts to slowly sink down. That tail is wagging real slow. The other baits didn't do that. There's only one other bait that I had that where the tail moved a little bit, and we'll share that with you coming up in the video. Oh, by the way, make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video, because at the end I'm going to show you another presentation of a different bait that I tried, and I got a whole new dimension out of it. So another way to fish a wake bait with an added dimension of sound, just by dumb luck it happened. I'll have to share that with you, so make sure you stay tuned in the end, because we're going to show that bait last. Okay, but back to the Keitech. So this has lots of possibilities for that, but this one is very versatile because you can do that, you can kill it, and the bait still looks very natural as it falls. Now, not all of the swim baits, and I tried a ton of them, look as good when you're waking them. One of the disappointments I had is the shad style swim baits, like the Rapala Crush City Mare and the Largo Shad. I think Storm makes the Largo Shad. They're shad-shaped baits. They do not come through the water well with this. I tried a number of ways to get them to work. They have a decent wake. They can make a wake, but there's two problems. When you kill them, they don't look good at all. They just look like a piece of dead meat in the water. The tail doesn't move, nothing happens. And oftentimes when you're waking them, they want to just twirl. And so that does not look natural at all. You want something that's not going to twirl. It's okay to go to rock back and forth, but twirling never is a good thing for a wake bait. And so I don't recommend using the Mare or the Largo Shad or any of the shad-shaped baits that I tried. Just didn't seem to hold up and work very well. But the Keitech was one of my favorites. Another one that I really liked for different reasons was this one here, the Megabass Hazardong Shad. This one had a completely different look in the water. A much more natural look, where this one has that exaggerated swim. This one made a wake too, but it made a wake that made it look extremely natural, just a very natural quiver in the water. It made the wake. It made what you want. You wanted to see that wake that it made, and it did a good job in that, and we'll show it to you here. And again, I put the weight in the belly. This one I still have a weight in the belly from when I used it last. And this thing just looked so natural. So where would I use this compared to this? Well, number one, if I'm fishing very clear water, I'm going to go for the Hazardong Shad. And if those fish are pressured or shy, or if it's the kind of day where they're not really committing real well, I'd probably start with a Hazardong Shad. It just looks so natural in the water. It doesn't give off any negative cues at all. It just looks like a real bait fish swimming along and struggling up there. And when you kill this one, it has a very nice fall. The fall tends to want to spiral a little bit. It turns a little bit as it's falling, and this one, the tail does have a little bit of movement. Not as much as the Keitech as it's falling, but there is a little bit of tail movement on the fall on this bait. And so this makes this one another one I really liked throwing this way. So these two, for two different reasons. I got this one when I went to more aggressive bite, maybe a little bit dingier water. I got this one for when the bite might be more tentative and very clear water. So these two were both really good as wake baits with that setup that I showed you. Now there were a couple that were in between that I thought were interesting and good, that were somewhere in between these two. And one of them was this bait. And this bait had its own action though too. This is the X-Zone 4-inch swammer. And this one had a really good action in the water too. Like if I was having fish that weren't committing or maybe blowing up and missing these two, I would definitely be trying this one, or maybe even starting with this one, because it has a little bit of the best of both worlds from those other two baits. It has a good tail wag, but it also has a really interesting roll to it. And so when you're reeling this on the surface, it actually has a little more presence because of that roll in the tail wag than, say, the Keitech. So this is an interesting one to try as well. The other bait that I liked after experimenting with it was the Reaction Innovations Skinny Dipper, which I was using the larger, I think it's a 5-inch bait. And I liked that bait, especially when the belly weight was in the middle. It had a nice roll and a good tail kick somewhere in between the swammer and the Swing Impact Fat, but a little bit of a bigger profile. And speaking of bigger profile, I got thinking after a while, you know, I was catching some fish on these baits in my experimentation with them. I'll be showing some videos in the future where I'm fishing these and catching fish on them. At least That's the plan. But I started to wonder, is there, what about if I want to have a bigger presence in the water? If I want to draw fish from further away, and I started to think that I need a bigger bait with a bigger profile to do that. And so I remembered that Megabass has the freestyle Magdraft. It's when you buy a Magdraft, it's pre-rigged, but they also sell freestyle Magdrafts that have no pre-rigging. It's just the Magdraft without hooks. You get 2 per package, and I have that here. And I thought I would do some experimentation with that, and I got out on the water, and this is one that was a very pleasant surprise. So this is my rig. This is the 5-inch Magdraft here. You can see I'm using that finesse wide gap hook. I have a spring clip in the nose of the bait, so it's not going to come out. And I have a weight near the front. As you can see, I put that weight in the front on purpose. I tried it without a weight, and it tended to roll a little bit. You'll see that in this video. And then take a look at this when I put the weight where you see it now. Okay, I have 3 different size weights here. We're going to experiment with them. I'm going to try the medium one. I think that might be the one to go with, make it bounce a little bit more. And I'm going to put it in near the front of the bait. That way, if we do stop, it'll fall down slowly nose first, which I think could be a good thing. Let's put this thing in there. Let's see how it helps, if it helps balance the bait at all. So I just stuffed it in underneath the slot, sticking out the top a little bit, but that's okay. Let's see what happens with that. So that definitely balances it. Look at that difference. Still makes that bubble trail, and it still sounds like a jitterbug, but it's better balanced as it comes through the water. Good tail wag. Fish just went after a dragonfly over there. So the bait gave me exactly what I wanted. More presence in the water. It's a bigger, thicker, heavier bait, so it's going to make a bigger wake. And the thing that I didn't expect was the sound that this makes. If you didn't hear it, go back and play that again and turn up your speaker volume, because it almost sounds like a jitterbug. It's good. It makes it's the tail kick, but it makes a very unique and distinct sound on the surface, and it's fairly loud, so it's going to get their attention. And this is one that I really have some high hopes for some bigger fish. Fishing some of those shallow water lakes, or even when there's bass in pads that are thinning out, this thing could be a very interesting top water wake bait to throw under those circumstances. And the wake bait comes into play for me usually late August, September, October, and November too. Even right into mid-November, sometimes that wake bait can be a killer at the lakes that I fish here in eastern Pennsylvania. So this is another one that I really enjoyed experimenting with. I haven't thrown it for fish yet, but I'm looking forward to fishing the Magdraft this way, because if you saw it, it has a really nice wake to it, but it has that added dimension of sound that the others really didn't have. They had a very subtle sound, the way you would expect them to sound, being a soft swim bait coming through the water. But this one, it had a very unique, much louder sound, and so that's going to draw fish from farther away and maybe draw more strikes as a result. Well, I hope you liked the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. That'll let you know when the next video is available. Don't forget to check out my website, fishden365.com. There's a lot of good information on there, including a Discord that I think you might enjoy, where you can get online with other people and ask questions and just share information with the fishing community. Until next time, be safe out there. Hope to see you on the water. And as always, may God bless your fishing endeavors.